I'm the third introvert around here. So for me, I like being in my own company, and I don't actively go looking out for social circles. I'm very okay with 3 friends that I can call and hang out in someone's house or being alone in my house. Um, are there instances of loneliness? I think it's more pronounced in one's 30s, especially for me in my late 30s. Around this time, many of my friends are settled. So Friday evening, it's date night and that. And you just want sometimes to grab a friend for an evening sesh of just chat and spilling your heart and just girlfriend confidential, right? But people have family, they have things to do. Sometimes it's work, someone's working late, right? So that's one. The other times I have really, actually, the times when I recognize that I am lonely is when I have good news to share. And I said this to someone, and they said, is it good news or bad news? When I have good news to share, because I am never sure how someone's going to take it. And we all talk about how tough times have gotten. So when I get good news, sometimes I feel like I am getting unfair advantage. Should I be sharing this?
This time I want to tackle a topic that is basically globally a problem: loneliness and friendship. So, according to a study, it actually shows 1 in 4 adults are lonely. But why? Why are we lonely? And right now, if you go onto social media, on to YouTube, TikTok, everywhere, you have people saying how lonely they are and they have no friends. And today I decided it would be a good conversation to have. So, myself, Anna, in my 40s, somebody, Eva, in their 30s, and Sharon in her 20s. And we're going to discuss how we are tackling friendship and loneliness. And we all know it's a very, very important part of life. It affects emotional health, mental illness. It actually, when somebody is lonely and doesn't have friends, it is worse on their mental health and their health in general than even losing a spouse. And what studies are showing, oxytocin, which is a hormone that actually, the only hormone that can tell cortisol, which is a stress hormone, to just chill. It tells cortisol, we're good, we're not stressed. And it can only be generated through real human connections. So, is that the reason we are more depressed? Is that the reason we are lonelier? And I wanted to have this conversation because for me, that is my most important thing. It's what keeps me going. I've talked about it many, many, many times. So let's see how we are dealing and how we can get better. How do we cope? So I'll let my guests introduce themselves today. So, Eva.
Thanks for having me, Anna. My name is Eva. I'm in my late 30s. I'm an African woman in corporate. I'd like to think of myself as being a social being, showing up in different facets, whether it's in the workplace, in my church phase, community, as a support, as a friend, and yeah. But excited about the topic.
Sharon.
Hi, I'm Sharon Mugushia. In my early 20s. I'm a student at NKU Parklands Law Campus, and I'm so happy to be here. Friendship is such a big topic and something that every stage, every person goes through it. So I'm happy to be here.
I was planning on doing this conversation, and I was with my cousin who is 15 years old. And as we were driving back from Nakuru, I asked him about advice he's given one of my nephews who is just now going into high school. And you know, he says something. He said, I have advised him and I have told him to choose his friends wisely. He's 15. He's advising another 14-year-old going into high school, and I realize how important it is. So, Eva, in your 30s, what is your definition of friendship?
Friendship for me has been people who are there, people who I can routinely count on. And when I say routine is when I want to share some personal news, when I want to seek help. Yeah, a community. Well, I'm a very big believer of community, which is also why I brought it up. But not all community is friends. No. Some of it is obligation. If you think of the workplace. So, but let me just say, yeah, people who I can count on and people who I just very routinely reach out to, whether it's for help, whether it's for support system. Yeah.
What is your definition of friendship, Sharon, at 24 years of age? 23, actually. You're not even 24 yet. Stop aging yourself.
Yeah, that's 23.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me is about family. Friendship really matters to me a lot, and I think I'm an introvert. I find it hard bringing people close to me. So I would look for people that we share the same values, people that I can depend on. I can share with them about my personal life. And I think friendship for me is having a small family outside of my actual family. For the past 3 years is when I found something that I would say it's real friendship, that I found a family. And before that, it was so hard finding friends. I'll go to school. After classes, I'm already out because I do not know how to bond with other people in class. And that's when I was doing my first degree, and it was so hard. I think I came out with only one friend. So imagine within those 4 years, you're only bonding with one person. So it's hard to fit in, hard to share your things with other people. There's some things I can't share with my parents, I can't share with my siblings. So I have things bottled up, and you end up being lonely because you can't find people to term as your friends. So it's tough. And also finding yourself, people have different desires. People are in fashion, you find yourself you're not fitting into that group. I'm not into social media. I just started social media recently, like 1 or 2 years ago. And the other people are in social media my age, so we have nothing to bond over. So yeah, it's kind of difficult.
And I love that you brought that up because Eva and I have been friends since 2014.
Yeah.
You're actually one of the first friends I met when I moved back from the US. And I've
Shall we
actually
start how we were not friends because I thought you had the hard
Yes,
face.
you actually thought I was standoffish.
Yes.
That's what you described me the first time we ever met.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And I am a girl who grew up in Nakuru.
Yeah.
I'm a village girl. I talk about it I didn't grow up in Nairobi. I was in Nairobi briefly. Then I left. So when I came back, I knew no one. And Eva, I have actually never told you this, but thank you. Because through you and that circle of friends you made, or I made, I stayed. I would have left. You made it easier for me to stay.
Aww.
So we've been friends for a long time. And you brought something very important as the reason I'm introducing this. Standards of what to bond over. But Eva and I and everyone in our circle of friends, we are very, very, very different people. It's not what we bond on.
Yeah.
Like I will even talk right now, you talked about fashion or beauty standards. And Eva, you can share what your priority, we all have priorities when it comes to beauty.
Yeah.
What is your priority when it comes to beauty?
I don't know.
I know, we've talked about it. You love clothes.
Oh, okay,
You love
yeah.
fashion. Right?
Fashion. Yeah.
Are more about skincare.
All right. Yeah, that I'm
Some
not.
of our other friends
not-
are nails. But I will never try to have their nails because I can't even keep them up. I will break them. So, but it is accepting for me each other as you are. We don't need to share the same fashion trends or it is that deeper, memorable connection. And for me and you, like last year, I think I told you this, you knew I was not in a good place when I was in the US.
Yeah.
You could sense I was struggling. And what did you do when you came to visit your family in Boston?
I came to see you.
In Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That is what friendship is. We never even talked from the fact I'm actually tearing up, that I'm struggling, but she knew and she came. So you in your 30s, now into your
Yeah.
30s from your 20s,
Yeah.
the friends you have right now, are they the same childhood friends? Are they high school friends?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Not. I don't think I ever kept. Actually, I do have a few people from my childhood that I talk to, but they're not the immediate. They're not that circle that I said I call every day for counsel and for support. Um, who's my friend? In my 30s, it's been a transition, I'll say. As I got to discover who I am more, I kind of find people who we share the same beliefs. My current beliefs are not always what I had in the past. Um, people have also gone through their own transitions. So some have started families and that's their focus point, and so they bond over that. So for me, I think I'm more aligned to people I share values with. The value of being an independent woman, an empowered woman, a person who stands up for what they believe in and pursues what they believe in. I gravitate towards those people. That's you for sure. You're the limitless way there are, right? So I draw energy from your energy, and I want you to draw from me because I think we share that value. That's one. I think, what else? I think that's the most, because there was a period when it was the workplace people. Yeah, again, being in your 30s, you it's ebbs and flows, right?
Yeah.
So there's the generation that was with you in high school, and then you go into different universities. That's where I think Sharon is at right now. And then from uni, you make one or two friends that you stick with, and then life happens. You get into the workplace, and new formation happens, especially where you bond over. Sometimes it's toxic workplaces that create the bonds.
Yep.
Someone who really gets you because you have the same mean boss, right? So you bond over that, and then one or two of you progress, and then there's new things. But then slowly, at least for me, my journey was, as I started my journey of self-discovery, that became priority. Who am I? Without the work title, who am I? Without the church title, who am I? So if I remove the school and the workplace, whatever I'm left with is what I'll pursue. It's the confident me who believes in showing up for myself, showing up for others, and looking for people who align to that. And those are the people I hold on to today.
So, from what I'm hearing, part of creating real, meaningful relationships is also getting to know yourself. So, Sharon, at early 20s, have you begun that journey of getting to know who you are and who to surround yourself with?
Yeah, actually, that's what I started by saying. I look for people that we share the same values. And for you to surround yourself with people who have the same values, you have to know yourself. What are your beliefs? What do I do? What do I like? What do I love? What are things that I cannot do? What are my boundaries? So we have to bond over things that we actually share so that we do not cross lines. You do not cross my line. I do not cross your line. And for the recent past years, I've been in a very beautiful friendship. And actually, my mom said that she's never actually seen me in a friendship, of which I've come to realize I really struggled with friendship. And I remember when I was in primary school, I'd like to force myself onto other people. And actually, they do not like, it's you who is forcing yourself to these people. But recently, these people are the ones who, how are you? As in, they are looking for you. It's not a one way thing. We are
Yep.
all trying to make this friendship work.
So, are there parts, both of you can answer, that you feel even now with friends? Do you ever feel lonely sometimes? And what are those situations that make you feel lonely, even still with friends?
Yeah, I think there are sometimes you feel lonely because you are at different stages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have friends who are working.
Yeah,
Sometimes you feel
100%.
like you do not share
The
the same
same.
thing. You don't know. You feel like you can't meet on this day because they are working. So you end up being, I have to be alone. I have, because they are basically my friends. I have no other friends.
But is it
outside there.
alone or lonely? Because those two terms are very, very different.
Okay.
Being alone by yourself, and you said you're an introvert. I love being alone. I literally can spend all day, 2 days, 3 days alone.
Yeah.
I'm the best company for self. However, there's also the loneliness, and that's the shared. So being alone and being lonely are actually different.
Yeah.
So are there times you feel you're around people, but you feel lonely?
I'm not sure about that.
Okay.
I think I'm not sure about loneliness.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, Eva?
Let's see. So I'm the third introvert around here. So for me, I like being in my own company, and I don't actively go looking out for social circles. I'm very okay with 3 friends that I can call and hang out in someone's house or being alone in my house. Are there instances of loneliness? I think it's more pronounced in one's 30s, especially for me in my late 30s. Around this time, many of my friends are settled. So Friday evening, it's date night and that. And you just want sometimes to grab a friend for an evening sesh of just chat and spilling your heart and just girlfriend confidential, right? But people have family, they have things to do. Sometimes it's work, someone's working late, right? So that's one. The other times I have really, actually, the times when I recognize that I am lonely is when I have good news to share. And I said this to someone, and they said, is it good news or bad news? When I have good news to share, because I am never sure how someone's going to take it. And we all talk about how tough times have gotten. So when I get good news, sometimes I feel like I am getting unfair advantage. Should I be sharing this when someone's going through? You're an entrepreneur.
Yes.
You know your hustles as an entrepreneur. So do I want to share news as this morning you called me and told me your struggles? I don't know.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't want to share good news when someone's having a bad off day with their family. I feel like I'm being selfish or extravagant. Braggy. Yes,
And,
that's the word.
Interestingly
Braggart.
enough, actually, I was watching something out of the UK, and Julie Andrews, the actress who did Mary Poppins, and she won an Oscar for that. And she actually talked about putting the Oscar in her attic
Yeah.
because she didn't feel like she deserved it. I was like, wait. So when you talked about, I think you and I shared this previously, about sharing good news, and you feel like you're bragging.
Yeah. And it's not the same with hard news. Hard news or tough days, I'm very okay sharing because I feel like society has programmed friends to be a support system for bad news. I don't know about good news. Or at least that's my interpretation. I could be wrong.
So I was actually very surprised when you told me that, because I celebrate your good news and you celebrate everybody's good news. I've shared good news with you and you, but I also get it. Like recently, my business, Whether Beauty, got onto Macy's, but I didn't even ever call you. You had to call me because you saw it on the business social media page and ask me about it. And I acted that excited because it felt like I'm bragging.
Yeah.
And for me, I've navigated both ages you have. In my 20s, I actually can't say I had a lot of friends in my 20s. I had mostly male friends. I'm an only girl. So for me, I'm also very pragmatic in thought. So it's always been easier for me to make men friends. We'll talk cars, we'll talk speed. I remember a friend actually, mine one, they told me, like, Anna, you realize, I think these men actually think you're one of their boys.
I mean, I'm one of the
and
boys
I've
everywhere.
actually,
everywhere.
a friend of mine, a guy friend, we both know who he is, once introduced me to friends he grew up with as one of his boys.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, I've owned that.
However, as you're navigating life and you're getting older, those friends also shift, especially when you have men friends. They're getting married, they're starting to date, you're getting married. Those dynamics shift. And I wanted to know, like, do you guys have male friends, and how do you navigate that as things start shifting?
Go first.
I do have lots of male friends. I think even for me, my 20s were quite similar. I mean, I have friends from campus, a lot of the girlfriends from uni, my roommate from uni Washeke, we still keep in touch, CK, Masi. But then there was a lot of males, and I'm also a jokester, so I think men take my jokes a lot better than women. I'm very easy to offend women.
Yes, you actually can very easily offend women.
I can offend
yes.
women, so I gravitate towards men because they get my bad jokes. And to date, I think in part because I don't know, my that jokester I've carried along, so I work well with guys. I'm also very strong. This one says that. So
That's true.
men appreciate that. And for me, I have to be conscious when dealing with women to be soft. So sometimes I show up very strong that girls maybe put off. Okay, people like you're used to it. Yeah. And then, and also I guess because of the nature of my work being in finance, so there's a lot more
And very
men
male
there.
dominated, yeah.
So close work friends, that you share stuff about work are likely going to be men. So my two closest work friends are men.
Okay. And how do you navigate male friendships?
Actually, I don't think I have male friends that I can say that are my friends. That is something that I've always admired in my other friend who has male friends, and I think I could use her as an example. And they really show up for her when she has problems, and they are always there. I used to tell even my brother how I would love to have male friends, but most of them come in a different angle. You are looking for friendship, but they want relationship.
Yes, there's that.
And you can't date all of them.
Yep.
So it's a struggle. It's a struggle to have male friends. I think for me it has not been like you two, that you have friends who they know that they are only friends. I don't.
Actually, trying to think if someone has ever. I guess I've always been their dude. No one sees me as date.
When your girlfriend,
by the way, that's an offense. Someone
is
is
thinking you're the boy. You're like literally you're
yeah.
the boy.
Like they'll bring their girlfriends around. The girl looks insecure. I'm like, guy, this man can. By the way, I should be offended. I'm not.
I was offended when she said that. I'm like,
what do you mean? I'm not
you
something.
mean? you don't mean they will find me attractive?
That's sad.
By the way, she told me you need to behave more like a girl. And I'm like, but behaving more like a girl, I'm still a girl. Yeah. And that's where the limitless comes in. Literally, it was me looking around myself and my friends and realizing, okay, I am that girl. I'm strong, I'm feminine, I am outdoorsy, I love, so do you. Yeah. I'm a rock climber, I love speed, I ride motorcycles, I love fast cars. But I also love fashion and makeup. I'm still a girl. I'm feminine. Like, I'm not one thing. And as we are navigating this, and Eva, we've been through these circles, and we had a very, very close group of friends once.
Yeah.
Many of us. And right now, everybody has tended to move. Some of them have moved out of the country. Marriage have happened. Children have happened. Careers have moved. How do you deal, and how does it feel actually for both of you when you feel like your friends are moving on faster than you are, and not, have you felt jealousy, a little bit of envy, like you're being left behind? And how have you dealt with that?
In this space today, the person I am right now, I actually celebrate it. I remember when, shall I say Mo? Yeah, Mo.
Yes.
When Mo got engaged, and oh my God, I was all over the place.
We were there. I remember we had... we saw her. No, she came to Nairobi.
Yeah.
And we saw her.
No, but I remember seeing the news on WhatsApp, and I screamed, and I was at home. It was COVID period.
Yeah, it was during COVID
and
period.
We were home alone. I was just screaming by myself. But yeah, I celebrate everyone's success today. I look forward to seeing them. And when you meet, it's, fireworks. Like, lots to catch up on. Do I feel... No, maybe just missment, if that's a word.
Yeah.
I just miss them. No, I think I'm also very comfortable in my journey right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not in any way threatened, and I don't think anyone should be threatened by other people's journeys. There was a time actually in my 20s when I felt people are moving faster than me, and I wasn't jealous. I was just depressed at my slow growth. And I can also appreciate when people feel like other people's lives are moving and I'm being left
And you're
behind.
being left behind.
Because I've seen that in my 20s. I remember my start was a slow start compared to others who are earning six figures off campus, like
And
straight
you're
out of
not there
campus.
yet.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
their lifestyles changed, and you're left like, me, I'm counting pennies. So their lifestyle was different, and yeah, but now I guess it's also part of what you said, self growth and
Yeah.
self awareness. That I know the people who are around me, I care for them. I want to celebrate them and their growth.
Sharon, do you ever feel like, friends are moving faster at a faster pace than you are? Or are there friends around you that are feeling left behind? And how are you navigating that?
I think something that I feel is being scared. I'm scared that they're moving on to the next level and they might find me not important to them anymore because we are at different stages. I think that's what I usually deal with. I'm scared that when you go to this level, maybe when you get a new job, when you move outside the country, I'm left behind and I don't know how to move with you. I don't know how to help you in that stage that you are in because I'm not yet there.
I've never been
Yeah,
there.
I'm not sure even.
And I've actually never been
Yeah,
there.
I'm
Yeah.
not even sure the words that I'm saying are they right, or do you think basically I have nothing on the stage that you are in? But something that because we share about these things, and sometimes I'm worried, do I even help you because I am at this stage, you are at this stage, and it does not matter because like how Murugia said, it's supporting each other and cheering you up because I want my friend to be on the one in the billboard. I want you to be the most successful entrepreneur. But still, I'm scared because even at that level, you'll meet other friends. You'll meet other women who have wonderful businesses, who are amazing in their careers. So
And you're
where am
wondering,
I
am
left?
I worthy
Yeah,
of
am I worthy
you?
of am I worthy of you saying actually have a friend who is a student and everything like that? So I think basically it's being scared, but I'm still cheering you on. I cheer you, but I'm still scared. Are we progressing together? Am I being left behind?
Yeah, I think what she said is in my stage right now, what I'm finding is in terms of where can I offer support is if you think of someone who's married
Yeah, exactly.
and or has children, I cannot relate to your child, your
Or
nanny
your marriage.
problems
Yes.
or your marriage problems. So
But when
I
it
want
comes to
to
your
be
career,
there, but I don't. Yeah,
I can be there for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But say you have nanny problems or you're thinking about places to take your child, a bit. Yeah, that one I feel like I'm a bit useless in that sense. Yeah, that's the one area. I
Yeah,
guess.
and I think we can speak about, because when I met you, I was in employment. And my journey has evolved and I've gone into entrepreneurship. And actually, this is one of the parts I felt the most lonely. Because as much as you love me and as much as you want to listen to me,
I can't relate.
a lot of what I talk about, you can't relate.
Yeah, like you're paying salaries. You are
Yes,
responsible for
like
other
it
people's
is
families.
28th and I have no money for salaries. And you can't relate to that.
Yeah.
Or us going through, I need to order raw materials and we have no money. Or we can't pay KRA. Or whatever it may be. And we even have had that discussion. And it's a lonely, lonely journey because the only person I can talk to that gets it, you'll be there for me and you've shown up. You've actually asked me, I'll show up. I'll just be there, let's laugh. And even that matters. That because I can just call you and we might talk about whatever we talk about, but it shows me I'm loved and I'm cared for. So even if you don't have children or are not married or are not in entrepreneurship, showing up and giving support
I
is
guess.
still important.
That's still how you're doing.
Exactly. And I think for me, one of the other part that was the most lonely, and I think a lot of people who have moved back from the diaspora can share this. I actually had a friend of mine who told me, please share that. I have never felt lonelier than when I moved back to Kenya.
You're the one who introduced me to that concept. Now I share it with other people.
Right. I have never felt that's the most lonely. It's lonelier than entrepreneurship.
You know, we see summer bunnies in December.
I know you see them.
You're partying.
And this is what I'm about to tell people who are thinking about moving back. You move back, everybody has time for you. No, when you come for holiday, everybody has time for you. When you move, people have lives.
Yeah.
You're not important. Even your own parents. I remember once calling my parents. I will never forget, on a Friday, and I think I'm just going to go home. You know what my mother told me?
Chama.
We have plans.
Yeah.
And I think I've told you this. When I moved back to Kenya, I had a list. I'm very organized. I had a list of 47 people. Do you know how many of those are still in my life right now? 3.
Ah.
And one of them I actually shouldn't count because he's my first cousin. Sorry, you still will see me. We're first cousins. And that was so lonely. And I realized it was, and weekends were the most lonely. I remember calling my brother and going, please call my phone to make sure it's working, because my phone might be broken. Because why isn't anyone calling me? And in the African culture, and especially in the Kenyan culture, and this is something I realized when I came back, we are very, very, very cautious when it comes to letting people in.
Yeah.
So during the week, people don't have a problem having lunch, having a drink, having coffee. On the weekends, it's when they do the things that matter to them, and you're not part of them.
Yeah.
And that loneliness, I will never, ever forget. And that's why I thank you, because you came into my life and you made it.
I'm ready
And
to think
another
of
friend
what
of
we
ours
did.
actually told me this. She actually told me, you know who she is? She's starting a business, very successful. She actually told me the reason she stayed was because of you. You gave her faith that it will be okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
you
even
don't
now.
even know.
You tell me.
I'm telling you. So, and as you're navigating life, I don't know if you probably are there already. You have childhood friends, you're going to high school,
Yeah.
you lose some friends, you're going to college. As you're navigating and friends are falling off, and some of them are literally leaving you behind.
Yeah.
And you're trying to still reach out, and they're like, how do you deal with that? Have you dealt with it, and how are you handling it?
Yeah.
When you're the one, basically no one is returning your calls, you still won't be friends, but they've decided for whatever reason you don't fit into their plan.
I had to go through that recently, maybe 3 years ago. And like any relationship, it died. So for me, it's normal mourning of a relationship. You mourn the memories you had, or I mourned the memories I had. Yeah, and realize it will never be the same. This is someone who was like family. Like my brother knows about them, my mother knows about them. But then you have to respect that you don't fit in their life anymore. You probably don't know why, but yeah. So for me, I didn't get to know the why, but I respect it is what it is, and so I mourn that and wish them well. Like, what do you do?
And you, Sharon, have you had to go through that yet?
Yeah, but I think it's not letting go of. I think it's the circumstances being too difficult, and you feel like we are trying too hard because of the distance, because of different interests. And I remember one time we were like, "What are you up to nowadays?" Because we feel like we have really transformed. We do not know each other anymore. Yes, we love each other, but I don't think you can be my friend number 1, 2, or 3 because of how things have changed. And sometimes you feel so sad. And I remember telling my mom, and she told me, even the ones that you have right now, you might end up falling out because things change. You just have to know that, did I do something wrong to you? No, I did not do something wrong to you, but things have just changed, circumstances have changed, and we're letting go out of things that have happened, not because I did something to you, you did not do something to me.
Yeah.
And it just, like how Marugia said, just wish you well. Things happen and you just have to move on. You can't hold on to something that you are the one who is trying to hold on to it. Yes.
And as I'm the elder of these conversations, I've actually had friendships that have evolved. At some point, they have fallen off because of different things that were going on. And sometimes maybe it's a misunderstanding or lost in translation, and someone decided they were offended. And what I have learned is let it go And if it was meant to come back, some of my strongest relationships right now are friendships I had in childhood. And at some point they fell off. And now we are back. And we have to be okay with those ebbs of life and being okay with not everyone who comes to your life is meant to be there forever.
Yeah.
And I think we struggle with that. So how do you, I know I asked you about being let go.
Yeah.
How do you let go? And when do you decide it's time to let go?
Have I? But I think, I don't know if I'm trying to think if I have. When do I decide it's time? I think once I see that we're not on the same path. Like I said, I've gone through a journey of such self-awareness that there are things that I don't stand for anymore. And so I don't care for that. So if we don't have anything in common, the question is whether I communicate it. I don't know if I do.
You communicate it. You just
Yeah.
let it go. Do you
I think-
communicate it?
No, I don't think so.
I actually don't
That's
think any
happening
of us
slowly.
communicate it. I think even I don't think I've ever communicated it.
You just
I feel like
silently
it just literally
drift.
you let it drift
Yeah.
and you let it
Conversations
take
come later.
a journey and eventually you realize we actually no longer speak.
Yeah. Whether that's fair is another thing, though.
I actually don't. But it's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah.
How do you tell someone, look, I don't know how to do that yet?
Yeah. It's part
How-
of growth.
Have you ever been betrayed by a friend? And how did you deal with that?
Ah, right. I think I internalize it. I'm trying. I don't know about betrayal, but yeah, I actually don't think I have.
You haven't?
Can't remember.
Sharon? Not yet.
No,
Not
no.
yet. Because it does come, and that's part. And sometimes I may betray you without actually realizing I'm betraying you.
Yeah.
And I'm actually happy it hasn't
Happened. Yet.
to you guys yet because I feel like it's one of the most difficult things to deal with.
Yeah, I
So
don't think so.
I hope it never does.
Yeah.
And if it does, just
Touch wood. Eh?
yeah, it's actually very, very difficult. How do you handle friendship shifts? Like when you're in a circle of friends and some people seem to be closer than others, there seem to be cliques happening in the friendships.
Again, being where I am right now and being so self-assured.
And not even at the
yeah.
moment, even as you've grown into this space of self-assuredness.
I guess it's because I grew into it that it doesn't bother me. There are people I find I gravitate a lot towards because of a lot more values shared. So we have a lot more conversations to have. In the past, again, it's from a pace of growth. There is a chance of feeling neglect. But once you grow into what you offer, what you bring to the group, for me, it doesn't matter so much. It's just not now. No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
matter.
like even growing to this
But,
point.
yeah.
Like even as your younger self.
My younger self had a lot to deal with. It was finding my own identity and being self-assured. So because of that, I looked for external validation. So if anyone felt like they were not preferring me, I would take it internally. I wouldn't.
You take it
Flash.
internally and blame yourself
Yes.
for not probably being enough.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like as an example, I think I remember this. The people who knew me in uni, or at least my circle, I was never the person who went out. I didn't like going out. Or for clubbing, I'd get tired by 10. So I would be the worst company. So gradually you learn to leave me out. Or the people around me at the time learned to not include me to their plans. And I just realized I'm a homebody. So I became the person who opens the door when people come. But I would still resent that.
But you still resent
Even
it
though
that
I don't
they
want to
left
go
you.
out, I really don't. And if I go, I'll be the suckiest person.
But you still resent that they didn't ask you.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then and this I guess is the growth. Now I learned to be comfortable in. I genuinely don't like that scene, so let me go. And you and I do that Mercury thing where we leave by the time the club is
Oh yeah,
starting.
when the club is
As we
starting,
went
we're
and
out.
ate.
We're like we ate, we had 2 glasses of wine and
And then you go.
deuces, we're out.
But
Yeah.
then there's a version that starts when now you've gone. Right?
Yes. And then you're
So
like,
me,
wait,
I don't do that loud scene. It's not mine. So I've learned to embrace it. It has its owners. I'm not that person. It's okay. Don't feel bad if you're the people who go together. It's okay. I'm not gonna be
Sharon,
that
have you
person.
experienced where you're feeling bad because you felt excluded, even though you didn't want to go?
Yeah, for sure. It's like, and I always say, these things happen. Even in our families, you feel like you tend to lean on one sibling than the other.
Ah.
So I think it hurts sometimes, and you feel like something is mentioned, and you're like, wait, I do not know about that.
That how come I wasn't told?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how come you two or you three know about this? And sometimes I feel like it's okay. And I came to realize, even me, I would lean more on someone else. So it's just coming to realize that yes, we all love you, but I feel maybe you're more comfortable with another person. It's okay. Yes, I feel bad, but I still want you to be happy, and it's okay. I just learned to move on.
Just
and
kind of move on
Yeah.
and let it go.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's about social status, and you don't have the amount of money to spend on being out that your friends have. And I've spoken about, I came from a very high earning position as a corporate person. Money was never an issue. And I went into entrepreneurship, and my priorities shifted. Even we used to do branches and massages, and my life changed. Now when somebody calls me and they're like, or in the group, and somebody's like, oh, let's go here, I'm honest enough to say, I can't afford that. I could from a money perspective, but it is no longer my priority. Do you feel like those things also affect how you feel? Like maybe you're being excluded because you don't have, you're not in the same social status, or you're excluding people because you don't feel
Yeah.
they're on the same level. And how do you navigate that?
So I like to do things by myself in part because of that, because I don't want to inconvenience others. But also, I think this is where now you create different friend groups for different things. I like hiking. Not everyone in my group likes hiking.
No.
So let me go and find people who hike.
Who like hiking? Yeah.
I like being in the gym. Let me find my circle of gym people, right? Church is a big place for me. So it's not for everyone in our friends group. So let me go and find my community of friends. So that's how I've navigated, finding people who suit those places.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how are you navigating it?
I think for us, we've just found for a basis that Sharon loves this. So for this time, let's go and accommodate her needs. Because, like I've said, I do not have a big circle, and I don't intend to make it bigger because I feel like I'm closed off, and sometimes I feel like my introvert part makes me not have friends because I'm not going to share what is happening in my life. So with the small that I have, we tend to incorporate everything. If you like going to hike, we'll go. And the next time, if this one loves indoors, we'll come and stay indoors with you. So we try to accommodate each other because all of us, I feel like all of us, we do not want to expand. We just want to grow together, understand each other. What are your needs? And we just meet everyone's needs. It's like a relationship.
Actually, that's beautiful because
I know.
we actually do the same thing. The amount of times we actually hang out at each other's houses.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring back this circle we had at one point. And we had this friend of ours, Lola, I can mention her name, who was very good at bringing people together.
And cooking.
And cooking.
Yeah, I don't
and
like
just
cooking.
creating spaces. And she loved to entertain and host. And this other friend of ours, Mo, literally, she was a fun.
Yeah, she still is.
And she still
Fun
is.
times.
And now they've both left the country. And I feel like even our circle flails. It's like we don't meet, not together.
So
we
we find them to
individual
blame.
things.
Blame them.
Yes, so we can blame them. Lola and Mo, we can blame you. And we're trying to find, and because none of us who are like me and you, we're not those people who will be like, oh yeah, let's go do this. I might call you and be like, hey Eva, let's go do this. But it's not about creating that complete circle.
Although
none of us are really
like the
good
concert,
at it.
we're trying to bring people.
But see, we're trying, and we have to go out of our way. It's not innate, like Lola's was.
Yeah.
And when those shifts happen, and still trying to stay together, because even as we're literally now individual, and we have to go, oh wait, you had to call me last week and go, can we make this concert, and all of us get together and we meet. But think about it, if it was Lola doing it, it would not have been such work.
Yeah. Yeah. No, actually, I think mine was pressed because of the holidays are coming up.
Yes.
We're going to start splitting for the holidays.
Exactly.
Let's do this one last thing in 2023 before the holidays.
So
So if it was in June, nitakuwa na baadaye.
And this also part of me, like I said, when I lived in the US, I was in a corporate job, doing well, I have money now. Every time I go, I have to pick my priorities differently. I'm trying to develop business. And I get a lot of help from my friends, but there's still this thing, even though it's not the focus, it's still at once I was it. Now I'm trying to grow a young business, and I'm staying with friends in other people's places when you had a 3,000 square foot house on your own. And it does take some humbling. It really, really does. And some loneliness, because our dynamics have shifted.
Someone is the landlord.
They're not necessarily the landlord, because a lot of the times they're actually not charging me rent.
Yeah.
And every time I talk about friendships, I call myself very privileged.
Yeah.
I am privileged to have a really amazing, there are not many. I am out there, I talk a lot. Nelly actually Nelly Twicom brought up this conversation once. And she said, but Anna, you know so many people, you have so many friends. I'm like, no, think about it. My circle is actually very, very small. And she was like, yeah, you're right. You talk to a lot of people, but people you let in
Yeah, very fair.
are very, very few. But those people, how many times have you guys called me to go out? And I'm in such a space, especially in the last maybe 2 years, when mom was sick, and last year when I was going through founders burnout, and we planned to go out for lunch, and then I call you and I say, I can't do it. And you know what they would do?
We came here.
They get takeout and they come here.
Yeah.
And that is, I feel that's what we need to create, and where the loneliness goes away. Because even though that point I was feeling lonely and I didn't feel like they would be okay with me being with them, they chose to forego the going to the beautiful restaurant to come into my house. They're still gonna go get the food, but come to my house. And I think that's the part we need to get to, and not be so worried. At least for my generation, it's not such a big deal, social media. But I feel like, Sharon, for you, social media is so big.
Yeah.
And you focus on that so much. And I think what we forget is it's actually not real life.
Yeah.
I'm showing you 0.001% of my good times.
Yeah, that's true.
And we need to normalize that somehow. I don't know how. That I'm not going to come show you when I've been weeping, or when Eva called me and I could barely even get showered and get dressed. Like, the thought of even putting on makeup stresses me out. And she comes onto my couch in my sweats and my t-shirt. But no one ever sees that. The world will never see that. What the world sees is Anna, who owns a brand and is being interviewed on TV.
Well, then I guess it also helps for people to put it out there. And I think this generation is doing a good job. They're very authentic.
The Gen Z is actually more authentic.
Authentic, they'll
Actually,
show-
you millennials, I think, struggle more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they'll do videos when they're crying. And
Yes, they are more authentic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's from our level and yours that we're now posturing our feeds. For them, they're real.
Because we're also raising this generation of perfection.
Yeah. But for them, they're more, having grown up online, now they've shed off the image that we have
Yes.
of perfection. They're just showing it off.
This is
Like,
me.
yeah. And I think for one, I'm half envious of them because they do things we can't do.
Yeah.
And
actually do.
yeah, but I also really admire their boldness. Like, this is me with my tears. This is what I'm going through.
I'm actually loving it. I feel like this is the generation I should have been in. I was way before my time. And I've talked about this before, and I have never needed. I'm always like you had to have I embrace my weird. I have never fit in, and the thing is I have never felt the need to. And I never tried. I was just me. People talk a lot about imposter syndrome. I have never had imposter syndrome. I actually never have.
It's a whole other topic.
I know it's a whole other topic and we'll come back to it. But it was that space of, I feel like Gen Z, I love Gen Z and even the younger, what are they calling them?
Alphas.
Yeah, they're just them. And I felt like at that time I couldn't be me because being me was judged. So I still didn't try to fit in. I just observed from a distance. And I'm just not going to put myself out there because I'm different. And it's actually not, you're different. I'm just now learning. A lot of us were going through the same struggles. So you're being called to be lonelier. Do you feel that way? At your generation, Gen Z?
I feel like I'm in the wrong era.
You feel like you're in the wrong era?
Because I do not relate to social media stuff.
Okay.
I rarely do that. I feel like I'm more in this era.
Do you feel a certain way about social media, even in your 30s?
Yeah, I do. I love it. So it's a good place to meet people with like minds because you're following things that are of interest, right? But at the same time, the pressure, like it's Christmas time, everyone has their family outfits and the dog.
Oh, and even the dog has a photo shoot.
Yeah. Just
Are you
me
gonna
and the
have a
dog.
photo shoot with your dogs?
I tried.
Okay.
I'll show you.
They did cooperate?
Yeah. But yeah, you get the meaning. Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, my late 30s, I'm not in the family space. So you're looking at people, husband, wife, 2 children and a dog in Christmas outfits. Like, So the pressure is there for sure. Or rather, a reminder, right? And then, yeah. So is it bad? I don't think so. And then I also worry about what we put out there. Yeah, like why are we putting things
Like,
out
where am I
there?
putting that specific
Yeah, so
thing
for me, I'm
out?
very aware. Like, what do I want? Why am I putting this thing out there? And some things I post and then I delete very fast. Maybe they'll have one view and then I delete because I'm conscious about the why. So I think I have a love-hate relationship with them. I got out of Twitter, by the way. Now it's called X.
Let me tell you, Twitter, X, whatever it's called, terrifies me.
Yeah.
I am not even on there.
I used to be very good on Twitter because I like words and I prefer words over pictures. But election time, the toxicity gets into my head. So I left election of 2013 and I've never gone back.
How do you guys feel about this need, and especially with social media, for people to just be vicious and bring people they don't even know down?
Yeah,
and
that I
even
don't.
you who is being attacked, to have it affect you so much, but yet you don't even know these people.
I know. I think social media is affecting me at a personal level than a friendship level. And I remember I joined Instagram because of my business, and it's my friend who told me, even if you don't like social media, Instagram is a good place for your business. And I opened 2 accounts, for personal and the business one. And I feel like sometimes you don't know what to post. You feel like people are going to critique you. And there is this notion that goes around. You're the one who put yourself out there. As in, people do not have respect. They don't care it's your account. They're saying you're the one who put yourself up for the critique. So accept the critique. And it's really tough. And also having you see other people's posts and you feel like, wow, why doesn't mine look like this? And you feel like your things are not worthy of being posted, especially in this social media era. And you talk with people and they're like, there's another thing that my sister uses. It's called Locket.
Never heard of
I've
that.
never heard of
Me
it.
too. And I was so surprised. I'm like, am I getting old? Or
Yeah.
You actually think
Me, I
I'm
stopped
old.
at Instagram. So after
Look,
that,
yeah.
Snapchat, TikTok,
yeah, so
I do not know how
most
to
people
act.
are using social media to communicate and everything. They are posting their lives there, and you feel like you don't fit there because at what's your handle? Me, sometimes even Instagram confuses me, and people think because I'm in my 20s, early
You
20s,
should be
I should be knowing, and
conversant.
people think that I'm pretending, and actually I do not know how to even post reels. I do not.
Because I hear you. Because the reason personally I went on to Instagram was my business. And when I started the brand and my everybody marketing, like, Anna, you need a personal page. And I'll be like, why? I didn't join Instagram until end of 2019. And I kept asking why? And I was told because unfortunately, and this is business, probably the same reason you went there. It's not unfortunate. People had the luxury a long time ago to start a business and never care who owns the business. But now people no longer buy products. They buy people, they buy a story, they buy an emotion. They want to know who you are. And especially when you're beginning a beauty brand, for me, what are my values? What do I believe in? And those are not things I can speak about on the business page. They're not about business. They're about me. So I started one, and even now I'm very sporadic about posting. Sometimes I'm very good, and sometimes I might go even for a month without saying anything. And Eva, you still incorporate without a business? Do you still feel that need that you need to be out there?
So for corporate, LinkedIn like is where you go, right? To post things and be professional and find like minds. The pressure is there to post on LinkedIn. I used to be very good at it. I've not been as much this year, in part because of shifts in my personal space. I don't mind posting. I'm very, very none of my social pages are open to public. Every page, whether it's LinkedIn or X and Instagram, has people I know. So this year, especially for Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, I called them. Like, if I don't know your name and we've not spoken in the last 12 months, I remove you. Well, maybe less so for LinkedIn because it's a professional site. And
Will reach out,
Yeah.
professionally.
people reach out professionally. But for Instagram and Facebook, even high school friends, removed. University, if the last time I spoke to you was December last year, you are out. So that also, I guess, it's me trying to control then the people who have access, and then that gives me the freedom to post what I want. I can post about my work life or my day at home, because then I know everyone in that has access to it is someone I can trust with that news.
Yeah.
If I cannot give you that information, then I'm not allowing you to my social space.
And I think and I was having this conversation with someone else on Friday, very professional, who is just coming into the space of, they've come from very corporate space where it was not necessary. Now they've started a business and they're trying to navigate, what do you put out there?
Yeah.
Like
Even I wonder.
what do you put out there? And usually I'm very good at protecting that space. You know me, but I meet people I've known for a while, and literally they're like, wait, you're married? Because I've known them professionally or in the business space. But how come that's never on your social media? But that does not belong on my social media. Occasionally it may show up, but that's the part I want to curve and put private. Even you guys, as my friends, rarely show up on my social media, because I am the one who has chosen to be out there. My family and my friends, they didn't choose that. So it's figuring out, what do you put? Because not everybody you've befriended, you've kept yours very private. My Facebook
Mine's
is
100%
private,
private.
but my Instagram is open. And not everyone who is there following you
Has good intention
has good intentions
or energy.
or energy. And you have to protect that in every way. Do you feel the same way?
Yeah, I feel like what you use your Instagram and social media platforms are, for me, I use them for showing my values, and sometimes I feel like I need to show who are these wonderful people that exist in my life. But funny enough, I never post them in my posts. For Instagram, I think it's called post,
Yeah.
because post will stay there forever.
So you
unless
do like
delete
a
it.
story.
I just do the story. I put a picture of my family, and then after 24 hours, it's done.
I will post and I'll talk about the amazing people. What I never do is tag them, so they can't go be found.
Okay.
So I don't tag. So you might see a picture of me and Eva, but I don't tag her.
Yeah, you will
Because once I tag her, I've just opened her up to other people now to go snoop around. And that's how I feel like you keep your sanity, you keep your protection, and your peace, because it can affect you.
for sure.
And sometimes, as I think, part of, I think now there's this, I think, confusion between social media and friendship, because I think we take it as the people on social media are our friends, and we forget we still need to create these real human connections of people. You and I can call you and curse or cry. I can be in a bad space and you can sense it, and you can tell me, I'm gonna pay a ticket and come see you. Or I know you're in a bad space, I'm gonna show up at your house. You're not picking up my phone calls, I am going to come. And that only happens when you're close enough and create real human connections. And I think that's what we really need to work on. And for me, actually, a very, very different that I'm going to bring in as a person in my 40s who doesn't have children. Majority of my age mates have children. But so we can't bond on that space. So we found other things where we can still create a connection and bond on. The children were added. That doesn't take away from we loved each other to begin with. And even the children can benefit from that relationship. So,
Aunties.
yes, from the aunties and different values, different ways of life. If you're employed and you have children, entrepreneurship, they're learning something different than what you can offer them. So, what advice would you give right now to the people navigating their 20s, their 30s about friendship?
Quality over quantity.
Sharon?
I will say to purpose to have friendship, and something that we have always discussed with my friends. Friendship is a relationship. How I relate
You
with
can't.
my boyfriend is how I should relate with you. I should look for time. I should work on it. If also knowing love languages, in just purpose for your friendship to work.
Yeah, love languages. That also works in friendships,
Yeah.
by the
Yeah,
way.
for
Even
sure.
that. Yeah, it's not just about romantic relationships.
Yeah.
So, thank you so much for watching and listening. And I hope we can keep having these conversations and have amazing friendships. Subscribe to the Lioness Grotto as we keep having these amazing friendships that affect all our lives and our quality of lives, and how we navigate friendships, beauty, life to reach our limitless self. Thank you so much, Eva. And
Thanks.
thank you, Sharon. Oh my God, I know this was so impromptu, by the way. So thank you for giving us grace and showing up. We appreciate you.
Thank you for the opportunity.